Well, welcome everyone to episode 1 of the Wellness Friend podcast. I'm your host, a certified wellness coach. My name is Francis. It's a pleasure to meet you all. I decided to do my first episode as pretty much a lot of podcasts start, which is going to be how I started my journey. How I started on this journey to clean eating, how I started this journey to becoming a wellness coach, how I started this journey to just change my whole life. I am a 45-year young woman and have 2 great children. But with that aside, a big thing has changed in my life. I would probably say back in 2020, just like I'm pretty sure a lot of people, life has changed at that time. My biggest thing was that I decided to really take my health into real consideration, like really go ahead and actually focus on it. I had my kids pretty young, so when I was first having them and was growing up and was just kind of brand new mom, brand new everything, I did what I had to do, which I'm pretty sure a lot of women do. You ate whatever you could find. You usually had whatever was left over from the kids' food, and you really just didn't make a lot of, I guess you could say, smart choices or financially sound choices, because at that time, as I said, I was super young. I had 2 young kids, did not have the greatest job. So your girl was there at the McDonald's drive-thru having her dollar menus at the time. Just, at the time with $20 you could feed your whole family, and it was just a very, very different time. Granted, as many women and you girls probably know, that once you hit 30, your body really starts to catch up with you. So once I started hitting my 30s, I really just started feeling it. I woke up with my aches and my pains, and you just didn't really, those really cute 1-2 o'clock in the morning quick meals just did not digest properly as it should have. So a really big thing just kind of had to be done. And I really think a lot of the times, and all of my clients that I speak to, that once they hit 30, that's really, like I said, when their life starts to change, and you just take perspective differently of what's actually a focus. So that's kind of where your Wellness Friend podcast kind of came from, because I wish I had a friend that I could have listened to or that I could have chit chatted with in my early 30s, and someone who just was really being real with me, really just broke it down, to be honest. So that's kind of where this Wellness Friend podcast idea came from. So one thing I'm definitely big on right now as coach with my clients is just giving them really simple, easy, just things to kind of follow. Life is crazy nowadays, so there's no need to make it more complicated with more craziness than what's needed. Pretty much all of my podcasts going forward, or all my episodes, I should say, going forward on this podcast, is going to be broken down into 3 parts. And then really just like a call to action, because just like you have a good friend, at least we all should have a circle of good friends, they're going to go ahead and they're going to hold you accountable. So having a call to action or having, some sort of accountability is something really good and something that's needed. So you can consider me your friend, and I will definitely make sure I hold everyone accountable. So, including myself. So don't, please, I would love comments and just going ahead and reaching out to me through Instagram and TikTok and letting me know, hold me accountable for the same thing, because that's the way it works with friendship. So let's get started. So part 1, why clean eating matters in your 30s and beyond. Now, as I was saying, in your 30s, pretty much your metabolism naturally slows down. And that is just the beautifulness of our bodies. So, like I said before, a lot of things really have to change. And the biggest thing I would have to say would be the fact of the clean eating really helps to maintain energy level and support hormone balance. Now, again, as you start in your early 30s, late 30s, and beyond, just going ahead in the energy level and how it falls down is something that happens pretty often. That's just because the environment, the stress that we're in, our day to day, has a very large effect on our mental and our emotional state. And at this time, usually a lot of clients or women at the early ages of 20s have started on birth control or just started with poor eating and poor sleep and just a mix of stress and environmental responsibilities, things of that nature. So a lot of that will kind of shift once you start incorporating more of a clean eating habits. And we'll talk about that a little bit next. Another big thing with when you go ahead and you change your eating habits, inflammation. So, inflammation is a very big thing. I tell this to all my clients. Inflammation, sadly, is the silent killer. Right now, and just the food that we eat, the stuff that is processed, the amount of inflammation that we have in our bodies is insane. And of course, like I said, going back, if you sit there and you are having a lot of unhealthy food, super high in saturated fat, super high in sugars, carbohydrates, anything of that nature, your body just is going to retain water and is going to retain inflammation. So, that, of course, once that's taking underneath control, that will help tremendously with the long term health goals. Now, I do have my online business, as I was saying earlier, so I do have some online clients, but I do have a 9 to 5, and my 9 to 5, I do work in a wellness studio and we do cryotherapy. Cryotherapy is a great way to go ahead and combat that inflammation, and that within itself is a complete game changer. So if you are in an area that has a wellness studio that has cryotherapy, my girlies, go ahead and check that out. You will thank me later. And lastly, pretty much another big thing is that, of course, if you're able to catch this early, like I said, in your early 30s, it really is going to set the foundation for better aging and a better prevention of diseases. Again, some diseases, can honestly be turned around or can be prevented. And a lot of that has to do with your eating. I actually read a book or an article from Josh Axe, and Dr. Josh Axe, and he went ahead and said how he was able, with proper eating and changing of habit, he was able to help his mother, who was diagnosed with cancer, go ahead and pretty much just change. And if I'm not mistaken, if I'm quoting it properly, had actually reversed the cancer that she had, at least a certain stage of it. So eating is crazy how simple it is, but yet if it's not a habit that you're used to, can honestly be a little rough. So definitely going ahead and finding ways of eating more healthy would be so, so smart. And then part 2. Now, these are going to be steps that I personally added into my lifestyle and able to change my current eating habits. Because like I said, once I was turned my 30s, or before 2020, my eating habits were complete trash. My sleeping habits were complete trash. I was very, very big on my emotional eating. So that really was a big thing for me. So something very simple, because that's something I tell my clients constantly. You have to do things little by little. You cannot wake up one morning and say, what? I'm going to just stop eating bread, or I'm just going to stop having fast food. It's not going to work that way. Your body needs to have the time to change the habit. And 9 to 10 times, you do need to go ahead and form new habits and really kind of change that. So the first thing that I want them doing is that I want them starting to keep a food diary. Now I tried this out for 1 week and I did it for a full week. Like, really sat down and dedicated a full week to everything I ate: breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, drinks, anything of that nature, to kind of see where it was that I was indulging too much. So, like, for example, the first thing on the list that I did was that I realized that I was having at least, and I'm so embarrassed to even say this, at least probably like anywhere between 5 to 6 cups of Pepsi per day. Like, girl, those are just way too much sugar to have daily. That is just insane. But I wouldn't have not really realized that, because when I sat down and I just thought about it, I'm like, oh, I don't have soda that much. I really don't drink that much soda. I have like a cup here and there. Homie, I was literally having 3 cups per day, and that's not even including like a can here or a bottle here. And that was a problem. Another big thing that I did was that I noted when my meals, like when I was having my meals, because honestly, you should be having meals at certain times of the day. Like, you honestly should not be eating at least a good hour to 2 hours before you go to sleep, because your body needs to rest. Just like when you wake up, you should be having food within the first hour of waking up, because it's going to help to fuel your body for the rest of the day. So meal timing is a really big thing. But again, that you don't know, I did the food diary first for the 1 week, and then I went into the food timing, or the meal timing, excuse me, so I kind of could see the difference. Another big thing was tracking processed food versus whole food. Now, like I said, I lived a life of fast food for decades, at least a good 3 decades, and that's even when I was younger, the same thing. So when it came time to change my eating habits and make it more whole food based, what I did was that I was like, oh my God, I'm going to eat nothing but like rabbit food and like no flavor. And just like I'm pretty sure that a lot of other people go through the same thing. You're like, wow, I'm going to be giving up so much, for something quote unquote so basic. And the reality is that once you really understand whole foods, and you understand the flavor palettes, and you understand how well you can mix things together, that flavor, girl, that flavor is like totally different. There is nothing that a warehouse or a company could mimic than a nice fresh strawberry. I could take all the fake strawberry additives and flavoring, but nothing is better than a nice ripe sweet strawberry. It's just nothing. And that's just like, that was one of my biggest thing also, is like, just kind of little by little started to remove the processed food and change it to something more whole food based. Another big thing was, and I think this was the hardest thing for me personally, and that was identifying my emotional eating triggers. So, for example, if I sat down to watch a movie, your girl had to have something with me, either a pint of ice cream or something salt or sweet in my hand while I was eating, or drinking a soda while I was watching a movie, because that's kind of, I mean, come on. If you look anywhere, if you've ever been to a movie theater, what is the first thing they tell you? You want popcorn and a drink, right? Because you're keeping your hands occupied so your eyes can watch the screen and just be fully immersed in whatever it is that you're watching. The same thing applies if you are going ahead and you're feeling sad. The first thing you're going to do is that you're going to reach for the quote unquote pint of ice cream or chocolate bar or something that is going to make you feel better. So that's definitely something that was needed, something that was definitely required for me personally, because I'm such an emotional person to begin with. So yeah, that's definitely a big one for me. Now, part 3 would be simple swaps for a cleaner meal. And like I said, this kind of really goes back to what I was saying earlier in regards to trading your processed food for whole foods. So it's little things that you're able to change. So, for example, I am Puerto Rican and Mexican. So rice and beans is just part of my meals. So I want them going ahead, and little by little, I would kind of swap out like every other meal with white rice, and I would have brown rice. Just recently, I've actually learned how to make quinoa, because it's sometimes something that you really, for me personally, is more like a texture thing. So something I had to definitely work on. Another easy swap was, instead of doing like other like sunflower oils or just regular like canola oil or vegetable oil, I switched it out for olive oil, or my favorite, which is avocado oil. It's so funny. My son was just cooking the other day and he was making a nice grass-fed piece of steak on the stove, and he was cooking it up, and he's like, wow, this olive oil, this avocado oil is so good for, cooking, like it doesn't burn, because every oil is a little bit different and it really depends on the actual heat. And he was like, wow, this is great. So that's like, something so simple, but it really, really makes a big difference. Another big thing that I took up during 2020 when we were all on lockdown was gardening. I'm definitely going to do a full podcast episode on that because I fell in love with it in 2020, and it has become an amazing hobby to go ahead and implement. So, and that was insane. Like, now I can't see myself using certain seasonings because I prefer using fresh herbs. And if I do any packaged seasonings, I really look for more organic things because the flavoring is just totally different. Like, I do not use, and again, I'm from a Hispanic family, I do not use adobo. Adobo is not in my house. I have not used adobo for probably well over 20 something years now. I just refused. And even little by little, I'm pulling away from other things like sazon. That's something that's pretty popular in the Hispanic culture. And the ingredients, if you were to sit down and look at it, it is insane how unhealthy something like that is. Now, I still use it currently every once in a while because I've yet to find something that tastes really good or has the same thing just yet. But your girl is looking. Your girl is looking. And then lastly, I would say another good clean swap would be your choice of protein. So I tell my kids this all the time. It gets to a point where I went food shopping and there's chicken legs or wings from chickens that were bigger than my hand. And it's like, that's not normal. You should not be having a chicken breast the size of your face. Like, that's just like doesn't make any sense. So going ahead and swapping things for more lean, no antibiotics, farm raised or cage free meats or grass fed meats, the taste, number one, is totally different. And then I think number two, in regards to like the sizing of it really is where your mind plays tricks on you. So you want to go ahead and you want to make sure you're getting just the chickens that or beef that just looks healthier. Just looks healthier. So, and of course, if you have a butcher by you, then that is the best way to go because they're able to really kind of tailor that for you. So that's a great option as well. So yeah, guys, all right, my ladies, I'm so happy. Like, I'm actually did not think I was going to be able to do a podcast for this long. I didn't really think I had too much to really talk about, but as you will all learn soon enough, I'm a talker, so this is a great platform for me. But like I said, at the end of every episode, I really want to do a call to action. So yeah, definitely go ahead. I would love to see at least one clean meal from everybody. Definitely go ahead and tag me in socials. All my information will be in the description box. And I would love to see like a nice clean meal this week. I'm going to go ahead and post some of mine as well so you guys could take a look. And then, yeah, we'll be able to kind of chit chat here. So yes, my friends. Yes, this is the ending of the first episode. I'm so excited by this. I'm definitely have a lot of great things in store for this season. And I am definitely going to go ahead and for next week, we're going to dive into like what we need to do to create a nice clean pantry because there's nothing better than having a pantry filled of like nice clean items because then after that it makes half of the struggling to find something to eat like nice and healthy to eat a little bit easier and takes all the stress out of that. So we get to focus on other things. But yes, thank you so much. If you're at the end of this episode, I appreciate you so much. This is something that is a passion project of mine. So I would love if you guys would like and follow and leave some comments of what you want to hear, because this is all pretty new to me personally, but I am super excited to get this kind of going. So from my friendship circle to you, I wish you nothing but the best, and thank you so much for listening. I'll catch up with you guys again next week on Wednesday. Have a good night. Bye.